Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the After Action Report. We are glad to be back from the holidays and hope you guys are glad to have us back. One person that is definitely glad to have us back is Admiral Tater. Admiral Tater Ship Shop is one of our sponsors, and if you want to get the absolute best, top-notch accessories for your wargaming experience, check out the ship shop. There is a lot of stuff available, not only for Armada, which you have probably seen a lot of his stuff in tournaments. He is now making things for Leviathans. He also makes stuff for Blood Bowl and for Warhammer. So there are a lot of things that you might want to check out on the ship shop. If he doesn't have it, you may want to actually take a look and send him a message, ask him about it. He's always looking to expand into new gaming experiences. So yeah, definitely the place to go for top-notch accessories for your war games. So I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. This is probably the last time you're going to see me on screen because unfortunately we've got some issues with my audio, not my audio, but my video for Discord. So that's going to be a little bit weird, but my face is a lot less interesting than the other faces that are joining me this evening. So let's go ahead and welcome Garrett.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome Reuben.
Hey, y'all.
And welcome Nick.
Hey, how's it going?
And then you get to see my little shameful picture of Kermit there for the rest of this video. Sad frog. Did you guys have a good holiday season?
Yeah, pretty chill.
Yeah.
Hung out here local.
Yes, also good.
Yeah, it was a good warm winter or warm Christmas, I should say.
Boo. Boo.
Well, you know, given that I had to drive, I was pleased that there wasn't snow in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight we are going to focus on Leviathans. I know there are a lot of great games out there that we are also playing, but tonight we really wanted to take a closer look at kind of the basic types of fleets out there. Some of this we will be leaning heavily on Reuben because he has been looking at fleet builds that have been coming from places other than where we're playing.
Yep. I do a lot of talking on the Discord. I am in fact CallArc90, so spam me. I'm active, and I talk a lot of theory about a lot of games.
Well, and you know that background in other games really helps people to understand how. Hold on just a moment. This is giving me difficulty with the chat, and I really need to be able to look at the chat. So if you want to tell us some of the trends that you were seeing in some of the fleets out there.
Sure. Well, it kind of seems like the archetypical, oh, I bought into Leviathans, I'm going to build a fleet to play. I bought a starter box, and I bought a fleet box is battleship, cruiser, or two, and a destroyer. Or one cruiser and multiple destroyers. And maybe you throw a little bit of planes in there. I've seen a lot of those fleets. The first online tournament for Leviathans is going on right now. So of course, me being a data guy and a competitive guy, I'm watching all the games that are all the statistics of the games that they're happening. I'm not really watching the games themselves because if you haven't played a war game on TTS, it's like 33% slower than playing in person. And
yeah, it's a drag.
It's a drag. So I've tried to watch 40K on TTS, and it's just I put it on 2 times speed, and it's still just too slow to watch. So I'm not watching any of the games directly, but I am keeping track of the fleets that are built, who's playing who, what missions are being picked, because there's a big spreadsheet, all that data stuff. But for this episode, I want to start with meta statistics for fleet composition. So in Armada, we had bid, activations, squadron count, like that kind of stuff, okay? So those were metrics we would use to determine what the intent of a fleet's design was to do. Okay, like how is it planning to win its games? And we can derive other sorts of fleet statistics from Leviathans to also look at a fleet when we're just reading a list or we're thinking about how do we want to build a fleet, where we can consider these metrics for building and choosing the right type of ships for how we want to try and win a game of Leviathans. So the first one is types. This is straight out of the rule book. So your type 4 battleships, type 3 battle cruisers, type 2 cruisers, type 1 destroyers. Now, the biggest thing about type for me right now in learning the game is that the lower the type, the more game state information you get, which means that you can move the ship more optimally as the turn progresses. So battleship, it only gets to see 0 or 1 other ship's move. So whenever you move a battleship, you're always taking a risk. You're always acting with almost no information. But when you're activating a destroyer, you've either seen their entire fleet move, or you've seen all but a few of their weakest ships move. So it's better for those smaller ships to be able to be in a position where they're not going to be targeted down, or if they're targeted down, that means that they didn't shoot at a more important ship. Or, and importantly for one of the metrics we'll talk about, well, one of the compositions we'll talk about, your screening destroyers, your armored ones, especially Germans, you can put your destroyer always perfectly in the right position to defensive screen because you've seen almost their entire fleet activate.
Yeah, I think that's an ability that we haven't really looked at terribly closely in at least in my games. Defensive screening has not been something we've messed with much.
Yeah, because you can't shoot when you can't shoot through your friendly defensive screener. It's more about pure defense of defending a location that's been destroyed. So when we talk about a composition called Big Heavy, we'll talk about defensive screening destroyers. Next is activations. So that's the number of ships that you have. So in Armada, you could use your activation count to pad your activations, so your small ships that weren't that important, to wait out your opponent's activations, so your big important ship could always get that critical position or be able to shoot last or be able to move last with the most information so that on the next turn it could then move first to attack. In Armada, that was called a last first. Now, Leviathans doesn't have that in it because of how the allocation of firing works. Because you allocate all your attacks, you declare all your attacks before you see any of the outcomes. So it's much more risk management than optimal fire solution. I really enjoy it, actually. Like playing it now, I really prefer this to 40K and to Armada because it's more judgment based than, oh, this died, now I shoot this thing, kind of like expected outcome.
Yeah, I ran into a situation where that really bit me in the butt because I eliminated a ship in one shot and did not get to. I mean, I had 3 ships that did not get to fire because of it.
Yeah, I like that. It's just the idea. It's not. I wouldn't say it's realistic, but it's in real fighting, right? Not everyone's. It's not like a turn-based RPG where you're taking turns, waiting for. I'm going to shoot. Okay, now you're going to shoot.
Exactly.
And if I die before I have to shoot, you don't get to shoot now. Like, that's not how reality works. So I do like that everything goes at once. Yes.
Next metric. So this is a derived stat, and this is the first derived stat that we're really talking about here. But before this, you can count everything, and you'll know it. And it's like kind of in the rules. This one, I've called it tonnage. So it's the combined total of all of the types in your fleet. Now, why is this important? There are some missions that say if your total type in an area is greater than your opponent's, you score points. So when we're designing fleets and we're talking about missions and we're trying to win games, knowing if you have a tonnage advantage over your opponent is really important. Because if you have equal tonnage but more activations, that means you're better at control points than someone who has the same tonnage as you but less activations. That means they can't have all their tonnage on all the objectives. Or if you're picking a ship size to play tug of war, and you see their fleet is a bunch of small stuff, so like cruisers and destroyers, and they have more tonnage than you, but you have more tonnage in each activation, you can pick a smaller tug, so the area that their ships can be in is smaller, which means you can generate an advantage because Leviathans can't end on top of each other, so you can manage where these MSU, like multiple small unit fleets, can put their types. And lastly, bid. So bidding is how many points you didn't spend in your fleet. And this allows you to choose between being the second player and being able to pick whether or not you use clouds and which map the game's played on, or being the first player and picking which mission is played. Now, we don't have a good understanding of the points amount meta for the game right now. The game's so new. We're having our first actual tournament of it, and mostly people are, playing for fun, playing to learn the game. It's very new. So people aren't considering that aspect of the game. So right now we're seeing a couple of 10-point bids, maybe a 20-point bid. Everybody's kind of unsure. I'm bidding 10 because it seems to be getting me picked pretty much every time. And if the points of the game change and if how fleets are designed change, the bid will change. So bid is one of the things that will be the most nebulous concept over the life of a game because points change, styles change, missions change. So you feel like doing is always going to be different.
I would like to throw out there, though, that I think part of bid is actually going to be because of the limits on squads. Since you have a maximum of 100 points on squads, I've noticed that there are certain ships that I would like to run and other ships that I don't want to touch. And when I combine together, even with that 100 points that I'm getting from squads, I still end up with a bigger bid than what most people have. So like I've got one fleet that I've put together that's a 40-point bid, and people are like, well, why do you need 40 points in bid? Well, that's largely because I can't make it up in squads because the fighters, you're only allowed the 100 points in fighters.
And you're still only playing battle cruiser?
Battle cruiser and 3 destroyers.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's circle back to that when we talk about the multiple small unit archetype.
Yeah.
Because I'm really curious to have a discussion about that. Because my experience is I build and I get either a 10-point bid or a 0-point bid because all my Italian ships are pretty expensive.
Well, the difference that I run into is that with the British ships, not all the ships do what I want them to do. Not all of them have the type of guns that I'm after to use. So it's kind of weird. Some of the British ships have what would be considered sniper guns, where the longer the range, the better the guns are, but not all of them have that. And so if you're looking to exploit that, then you have to be careful which ships you pick.
Interesting. Okay.
But we went off on a tangent there.
That's fine. That's totally fine. That's what we're here for. It's tangents. So once we go from fleet meta statistics, how do we determine fleet composition as a meta? And in Armada, we had big heavy, multiple small units, and squads. Now, biggest difference starting out is that my personal opinion is that Leviathans will not have squads as one of its primary parts of the triangle in fleet composition.
Well, go ahead.
They can't do enough damage fast enough. It takes about 2 turns to get into contact in Leviathans pretty consistently. And only the turret fighter right now, how we're playing it, can consistently crack armor, and it can only hit crew slots. So it's only ever going to do 3 or 4 slots to a ship, unless that ship has repair crews and that kind of redundant stuff. But even then, that means it's 2 turns to knock out that one side of crew instead of just 1 turn, depending on.
I think
It's not like. Sure, go ahead.
I think a bigger factor in that is actually the points discrepancy, because when you're looking at Armada, the percentage of points that you can use in your squads is so much bigger than the percentage of points that you can use in Leviathans. So you are very limited.
And the bombers in this game are not near as effective as bombers from Armada.
No, and they're like not worth the points.
Yeah, right now they're not.
No,
I will say turret fighters. I'm sorry, Nick.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say some of the bombers. I was just going to say that the bombers really need something reworking. I would love to see, like, let's keep them as they are, but instead of rolling a slot die, you get to pick the slot, so at least they're like a precision thing. Because then, like, you can have bombers go in and be like, I need to take out those guns. Bombers come and take out the guns, and then like that could be the trade-off of like why you're paying for something that's largely going to be ineffective.
Yeah, right. Because bombers, useless. Heavy bombers can be used because you get 3 dice, and that's the only thing that saves it.
Well, and the interesting thing to look at is just based on history, and what the games are based on. When you're looking at Armada, it's based off of World War II, where carrier tactics were really significant, whereas in World War I, which is more of what we're looking at here, the battle for air superiority was interesting, but it was not really held over seas. It was over land.
Recon for Navy. Yeah. It was recon. It was all recon. But I was going to say, I think the problem we'll run into with Leviathans in trying to balance bombers for standard play is in campaign play, there's features where bombers are like free as part of like campaign upgrades. So when I'm not paying anything for a bomber, all of a sudden they're a lot better. Than trying to fit into a fleet. So they would have a hard time balancing that around like Operation Hannibal or whatever, or I think it's Ragnar that gets them. But so I think we'll run into that issue as far as catalysts having to like think, because like they've got your competitive community, but then your overall community is the like casual play. Right?
We're a small sliver of the people that are enjoying this game right now.
But yeah, heavy bombers, but turret fighters. I know we say they can't destroy a ship, but taking out a crew slot.
It's really good.
A ship. It's shots, right? Especially like on a destroyer. Once they lose that extra green dice, they're not going to destroy anything.
Green.
Like the math just can't happen.
Well, not to mention it makes the breaking the keel rolls so much better.
Yeah. Right. It just adds another 2 points, right? In that.
That's why all my lists now are like 2 fighters with an interceptor. Because everybody, all of you guys are bringing turret fighters, and I can't afford losing my Russian crew. I mean, that's half my gun power. A lot of the guns I'm throwing are a blue on the gun and a blue on the crew. So I need to keep my crew safe, because it's so easy for the turret fighters to just fly up, kill somebody, and then just fly away.
Now, Reuben, do you know, are turret fighters attacking all crews in the TTS event?
I looked at this today. Yeah.
They don't get the location dice.
Yeah.
Like how we play. So they just get the 3 yellows.
But they are hitting all crew, I think.
But I guess they hit all crew.
Yep.
That's brutal. That means if you bring turret fighters against Russia, like
they can repair crews.
So many more targets.
Funnily enough, Aaron's running some of the highest squad pack in the whole tournament. It's pretty much nothing but spotters, and what we talked about, well, what I wrote about in the Discord, which was like light coverage, where it's just fighter spotter. Like I wrote this whole thing with Aaron's help, posted it to the Discord. It's like 1,000 words. It's about squadrons, like theory. Go find it if you want, if you like reading. But it's all
I never
that light
learned to
squadron
read.
stuff. I shoot only gun long way. I get it. And drink tea. Have a little bit of rum ration at the end. Okay. I think so. My going theory right now is that what defines a fleet's composition, an archetype, is its choice of battleship, battlecruiser, or both. Besides squads, that's the only list building limitation in the game. So, for me, it follows logically. That's how we can quantify and like group fleets together. So, big heavy, battleship, battlecruiser. MSU, multiple small units, just a battlecruiser. And what I've like, it took me 2 days to figure out a name for this stupid thing. Just the battleship, I'm gonna call it battle line. So like line of battle, battle line. Take a little bit of naval history inspiration.
It's the core set.
Yeah, it's
battleship,
core set.
cruiser, 2 destroyers.
Yeah, cool. Or like battleship, cruiser, cruiser. It's your battle line. It's your core kind of look. So let's start. Well,
I think there's another one out there, but we'll touch on that towards the end here after you get out your thoughts there.
Sure. The reason it's a triangle is that I kind of looked at Magic the Gathering and their game design theory. So they have in Magic the idea of aggro, so a lot of small fast stuff, control, a lot of you're not allowed to do this thing, and then combo. You suddenly die because I do this thing plus this thing, you blow up. And that's how they structure their game. And then you can take that structure and say, well, if you add this part and this part together, you get this subtype. And I think we can do the same thing in Leviathans. So my fleet is battle line. So I play battleship, cruiser, cruiser. I think that Garrett's fleet, which is Kaiser 3 destroyers, is what in Armada is called large MSU. So it's a combination of battle line and multiple small units. And
it's Moncairn and CR90s.
Exactly. It's Moncairn and CR90s, but instead it's Kaiser, destroyers, squadrons. So that's like the idea, right? So there's this triangle. If you know anything about development of tank doctrine, armor, mobility, firepower. Triangles just work for video games.
Yep.
So the first archetype is called Big Heavy. Fleets that contain both a battleship and battle cruiser. Why would you build a fleet?
That's what Aaron runs, right? With the French.
He's running what I would call right now battle line.
Oh, okay. I thought he had a battle cruiser as well.
No, he's
may have been
battleship,
wrong.
cruiser, some squads.
Okay.
And we're not touching on admiral cards right now, just kind of generally, because I think you pick one and you kind of use it to build how you build your fleet, but they just generally help. So whatever archetype you do, you'll probably find a admiral card that supports that. And I think there are some that are just like categorically better than a bunch of the other ones, and you just always play those.
I feel there's a lot of
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of the admiral cards, and I haven't looked at every admiral for every faction, just the generics and like my faction. But like, once per game you do a thing. I don't know. That's just not something I'm gonna build my game plan around.
See, whereas the admiral that I build around actually goes for every action that I do. Yep. So.
Oh, the breaking the keel, British breaking the keel, where you get a red
flag. It is beautiful.
I thought that was once per turn, and Chris was like, "No, it's every shot," and I was like,
wow.
"Oh, okay, this is undercooked for sure because it's like 20 points or something."
That's how I feel my precision crews on Russia. Every shot, I pick a cruiser, every gun gets precision crew.
Yep. And I play maneuver expert, which is one reroll every turn. It's the only reroll in the game. There's no other ones. So Italians, like 30 points, you're just doing it. The only other one that we're testing right now, and it's what Aaron's playing in the tournament, is type expert. Because you go, okay, this is the go turn, and we'll talk about what a go turn is. I'm going to make my battleship move 0. It goes with perfect information. So the one time in the game, you need to work with perfect information so that you can get your strongest ship to go kill whatever you need to kill, I think there's space in the design of fleets for that card specifically. All right, so big heavy, battleship, battle cruiser. Why would you build a fleet like this? First of all, points fortressing.
Can I make a quick shout out before we forget? Because we're talking about a lot of cards and things. If you go to Scott Bomer's, just like Google Scott Leviathans Builder, he's got a full page GitHub set up with information for every ship and every admiral card, so you can follow along if you don't own these things at home.
The fleet builder is excellent.
Yeah,
just spend all day reading everything. It's great. Points fortressing. What is points fortressing? Points fortressing is bringing large models that are expensive, that are difficult to kill. The primary means of winning a game of Leviathans is killing your opponent's components. So, if we don't want to die, a good way to do that is to bring strong stuff that's really hard to kill. Next, it's concentrated and efficient firepower. Concentrated, it's only 2 ships, fly them close to each other, all your guns will always be on target at the same thing. Second, efficient. We talked about how it's difficult to judge how many shots should be into each ship to kill it. If we only have two major activations of firepower and we have a general understanding, like a good gut feel for what each ship will kill, we can just say, this ship shoot that, this ship shoot this. So there's much less calculation about how much we need to, like how we need to assign guns in a bunch of different areas, like an MSU fleet would be. Cons. It's much less maneuverable. You know, battle cruisers go like 6X's, battleships go like 4 or 5. They all have typically hex before turn of 2 or 3 or 4, so they're not going to be turning tight on the dime. Second, they're information scarce, and I actually think this is really important, more important than the maneuver stuff. Because you're playing a fleet that has most of its points tied up in early activations in the turn, you have to be fairly conservative with your movement. Because if you give up your rear, like I gave up my rear on my Scylla when I played Nick, and Pilata just like hard braked and power slid right into the rear, and the game was just over from there. Because if you get out of position, because you don't know where your enemy is or could go, you can get punished. I think good missions for this archetype are skirmish and invasion. Skirmish because it's all about killing stuff, so you have dense activations that'll just sit there and you can play super slow and conservative, and they have to come into you or take a draw, so shoot them. An invasion because if you're a first player in doing it, I think it might be possible that you can move in a big blob, offensive screen with your troop transports, like go in a line across the board and get 1 or 2 drop-offs, potentially. I've not played Invasion yet, because I think Invasion is really, really bad for Italians, so I've not played it. Bad missions. Breakthrough. Why? You're slow. Also, you only have 2 or 3 ships, typically 3. So after the next thing, after the battlecruiser battleship, I would put in one of your screening destroyers. So Germans have the best one. It's what, the Falk or something? Where it's got the forearmor on the sides.
The Wolf.
Wolf? Yeah. That irritating trash can. I hate.
I really missed it. I tried to fly British ships like the Wolf. It was really stupid.
Yeah, I bet they just exploded, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Except
it's crazy
the
when it's got 20 SI, which is more than my cruisers. What was that? And the reason that I think specifically defensive screening is very strong and big heavy is because you're already bringing a fortress fleet. You're already harder to kill. So you bring a third activation that says, oh, you knocked out my zone? Well, now you can't shoot it anymore. Now you have to go somewhere else. So it just makes the time to kill and the attrition of it just so much worse.
Yeah. Also, only a couple factions can do big heavy anyways. I really don't even think Germany can do big heavy, because the battleship and their battle cruiser is you're at that point you're 2 points heavy. There's no room for anything else, and their battle cruisers aren't very good compared to their grief class. So, and I do think Britain can do it though. Britain has some very good battle cruisers.
Yeah,
and if you
that thing
combine
looks
those
sick.
with especially the Connaught class,
Mhm.
even the Leviathan, the Medusa, with their sniper guns, it's super good. I think Britain is probably the best big heavy actually, as far as points goes because they're cheaper, and then maybe France, but I don't know. But I know Russia
Maybe.
can't do it. Uh,
Yeah, Russia doesn't have Russia, and that's the issue. Russia can't bring enough guns to do it effectively. I'd be
right.
willing to try it though.
Yeah, it seems like
Uh,
it. I've played it once with Italians, and it was like 12 torpedo tubes or something ridiculous. Because
Yeah,
the
it's
good
so much.
Italian battle cruiser is 4 torpedoes at the side with 2 saturation guns, and then you take a good Italian battleship, which is going to be more torpedoes. So it might work, but I feel like Italians are better leveraging the information advantage
Yeah.
of improved steering gear.
yeah, that's
So
huge. I wanted to say
why
that
would you
earlier, like when we
take
were talking about the types, the
Mhm.
Italians can like lower their types all the way
Yeah.
down.
And that's why I play Battle Line with Italians, because if you're playing Battle Line Italians with battleship cruisers and you bring some improved steering gear on your cruisers, you're acting so much more efficiently than anyone else. And like, I don't see that many battle cruisers. So having improved steering gear on a battle cruiser, who
I
cares?
think I'm the only one that really consistently runs a battle cruiser.
They're good. Well, the British
I,
battlecruiser, specifically the
The Maeve
the New
King.
Zealand,
No, it's the Maeve
oh
King.
yeah, the
The
Maeve
Maeve
King.
King
It's
is oh so
excellent.
good.
I also
It
run
is
a
a
battle. I run a
battleship
battle
for 100
cruiser.
points less. Sorry, what'd you say, Nick?
I would say, and I also run a battle cruiser, Russian fleet.
Yeah, because your battleships are kind of overcosted. What they do.
That's how I feel. I tried it against Root. We played a game here last week too. Yeah, I know the Maria is like the one people have kind of been saying like, oh, I like it. It's not bad. It's just that when you look at other battleships, it's just like I have like 2 saturation guns and then like 2 like 120 mil on my sides, and like
Mhm.
that's the firepower I'm bringing for 440 points.
And you only have one turret in your on your four starboard and four port.
Yeah, I was looking
That's
at
brutal.
my ships, and everybody was talking these turret saturation guns. I was like, where do you guys get these? Like, is it like a special ship? I'm like, oh no, it's just Russia. It's just Russia doesn't
Yeah.
have. We don't have a
Yeah,
lot of guns.
and terrible dice. Terrible dice. I'm
Yeah,
looking at your ship right now. Yellow
yeah,
blues
yeah.
on the side of this thing. 440 points.
Yeah. I
Uh,
paid 450 for Vesuvius, and I get 2 pairs of brackets and 3 saturations all on turrets. But
Like they're pretty tanky, but like, and we've seen this in Armada. You can build a ship that's unkillable, but if it can't do anything, it's just going to sit there and get shot.
yeah,
yeah.
But
This is awesome.
I'll talk about my fleet idea when we get to more MSU stuff.
yep, which is up next. So
There we go.
multiple small unit fleets, fleets with only a battle cruiser. I think that you can do battle cruiser, 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 destroyer, destroyer. That might fit, or you do like battle cruiser, cruiser, destroyer, 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 and you get like wobbly with how many planes you get in there. So, firstly, a really important pro for this archetype, you act with more information. So I think that if you're going to play MSU, you want to really leverage your information advantage. So you want to try and find really strong, efficient destroyers to put in. Because if your fleet concept is about having multiple ships to load one arc or zone of an enemy ship to do a bunch of attacks to it, you need to be on the smaller end where you can get that advantage. You don't I don't know if you can play MSU and it be effective with battle cruiser, triple cruiser. We should test it because in that archetype you have certain turns which would be your go turns where you have the initiative that turn, So you see where all his or her cruisers go. All your cruisers go kill that thing. And if you're running mostly destroyers, any turn could be your go turn, which makes you much more flexible about when you send your fleet in to take all the risk to see if you can kill something, because you know where everything is at that point. Second thing, it's the most maneuverable fleet. Your slowest thing is going to be like 6 hexes, which is relatively fast. Now, if you don't have a good inner hex before turn, you could be effectively as maneuverable as a battleship. So the battle cruiser doesn't have a huge speed advantage, in my opinion, over the battleship. But I also play basically the most maneuverable battleship in the game, where it goes, five hexes in a row, side slipping, and goes, and and then like goes 4, and then it pivots once, and it's went from this to like this. It's crazy. I'm slowly getting the hang of like really leveraging the improved steering gear. Last thing, you can bring more planes. So as they get figured out where they want planes to land in the metagame, MSU is going to be like the fleet that says, yeah, I'm going to bring all this stuff, and I can bring good harassment aircraft with it. Maybe this is the archetype that really can lean on the heavy bomber with like 100 points. So like heavy bomber, fighter. Maybe this is where it will work. Because I don't think that the spotter is as good on bracket spam fleets. So if you're trying to do a bunch of damage with just saturation guns, play spotters. If you're like me and I'm doing mostly a shit ton of bracket attacks, I don't think they're as good, because you're making 2 or 3 attacks in a round and you're only getting the D green once. So that's just where I'm at with it right now.
Well, you only get the green once per ship anyways. I still think it's worth it.
I think it's better on the lower die saturation guns, where it's like effectively an extra crew die. Whereas my bracket guns, I'm shooting pairs or triples.
See, I'm more leveraging that towards the end of the firing, just because I want to get the chance to get that added to a die where I'm trying to get my breaking the keel roll.
Interesting. Okay.
Have any of us played the veteran heavy bomber yet?
No.
I've been bombed by it. Kate
3
bombed me
blacks
with
is a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
3 back to the lot. Yeah.
I ran my poor Constellation class away from that thing as fast as I could.
Yeah.
I think it's, after turret fighters, it's probably the best of what I class harassment style fighters. So stuff that can actually go kill slots. Those
that
are
one's
harassment.
that's the 40-point one, right?
It's 60 points.
60 points.
60 points, yeah.
But
3 blacks though.
But it's also 3 hull,
3 health
with 4
health,
SI.
and how many SI each?
4.
Okay, like that thing is hard to kill.
Yeah.
And if you have a fighter there to like soak for it, it gets even worse.
Yeah, definitely. So my MSU list that I'm kind of working on, I'm gonna load it maybe a different version. But I was running battle cruiser with torpedoes, the Pilata cruiser with that admiral that gives me precision cruise, because the Pilata's got the 2 bracket guns in the rear with turrets, 3 bracket guns in the front with turrets. And so you give it precision cruise on 5 guns, basically, and then it can shoot everything out the side at the same ship. Most of my guns are on that Pilata cruiser, right? So like my battle cruiser has some guns, but I'm taking the Katsardsky that has the torpedoes out the sides. My cruiser, and then I'm bringing 2 destroyers with torpedoes, and then I brought full planes. I'm going to try without planes bringing a 3rd destroyer, so it'll be a 5-ship list.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. But basically my idea with the MSU was that I bring a lot of torpedoes so I can create maneuver hazards that I don't want my opponent to fly. I don't want my opponent to cross my T, right? My battle cruiser only has speed 5 with enter before 3 with no steering gear. So it's not very maneuverable. So it has to kind of just pick its course and go. And the rest of my fleet's very maneuverable. The Pilot is able to turn around in 1 turn. You've seen it happen.
Yeah.
So I have this very maneuverable, battery basically. I can use torpedoes to say like, if you're going to turn your battleship or battle cruiser to nose against my battle cruiser and bring your full guns, you're going to be eating 3 or 4 torpedoes. Um, and then I'm going to use my maneuverability to stay out of your range, get behind you, get in your bow. That's why I did, played Aaron on stream a few weeks or back in December, and that's what I did was I hammered him away, took out the guns on his bow, and then I just kept the Pilata all up front, so he was only able to bring like one turret to the front to shoot with it and plink off my sides. Um, I think, especially for Russians, because they have that blue crew on most of their ships, and they have kind of shorter range guns. They don't have as many guns. Bringing a lot more crew and a lot more small targets, it's that kind of attrition fire,
Mm-hmm.
is able to plink away. If I get 1 or 2 lucky torpedoes that can really break through and crack something, that might be all I need. And then everything else is just hammering in with the cruisers and the destroyers. Um, MSU, I mean, it was really fun to fly because like we played Breakthrough, and so I was able to have one of my torpedo destroyers just fly, keep putting out destroyer or putting out torpedoes, and then set up to where on turn 6 I could just turn and end in the deployment zone
Mm-hmm.
in one turn. And like if you're gonna play maneuverable, like Breakthrough, and I mean Breakthrough is pretty much the MSU mission.
Yeah, run past the enemy.
Yep.
Um, I
I
How many
feel like that's where
torpedoes do you
Russians.
have?
your precision crew is crazy though.
It's amazing.
Like
Yeah.
if you get one good shot in,
Mhm.
and just like you got that hole now, and you can just zone in on it.
Yeah. That's what I was able to do. I mean, what I did against Aaron was I sank his battleship with like a cruiser, and like my battle cruiser was shooting some shots, but they're mostly flying kind of away from each other at long range. But my cruiser, I put the Pilata in his bow, and then I just took out every slot with precision cruise. I was like, oh, you have 1 slot left at slot 4. I'll just roll until I hit a 3, 4, or 5, and then hit slot 4. And now you have 6 destroyed slots in your bow, and I have 5 guns. So next turn, I swung back around and just went 5 attacks. I'm just rolling straight attacks, and I'm going breaking the kill, breaking the kill, breaking the kill,
Right, because
breaking the kill.
precision crew works on every shot.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you can
people
really
cannot
go
sleep on
like,
that.
yeah, you have like, oh, you have 1 slot remaining. I don't want to break the kill yet. I want to kill that last slot. It's like a 50-50 if it's in the middle of the ship.
How many torpedoes are in your fleet right now?
Let me see the new list. I was bringing the veteran torpedo bomber. This one dropped that, but added a destroyer with a torpedo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, 5 all at the sides, up to 7 if I can get a bow and side. But I don't.
Okay.
You can't reliably get a bow torpedo and a port
Mhm.
torpedo on the same target.
I'm generally finding that with Italians, who are considered one of the more premier torpedo factions,
Sure.
I'm still only really shooting about 6.
Yeah.
Like that seems to be the actual good number because you can do 2 triple stacks, and people will do everything absolutely in their power to not get anywhere near those like 6 hexes of the board, which isn't the most useful, frankly. Or you can do 3 pairs, which I'm finding more useful because then an opponent goes, well, I could go in there. I could go send my planes to shoot at those and kill them both. And then if I do that, that means I can put my battleship here, or I can put this plane, like this ship here, and maybe my planes will kill it. Or, you know, maybe both the torpedoes will miss. And that I'm finding is way more actually impactful on how a game goes than going, well, here's a stack of 3 torpedoes. Just don't go here. Because then people
Yeah.
just won't.
Right.
And you want people to somewhat counterintuitively, you want people to have to make a difficult decision, not make an easy decision in a game. Because the minute you force them to think about something and there's risk involved and like you don't actually know what the outcome will be, it's much harder to judge what will happen. And if that lucky torpedo does hit and you break their armor on the first shot, then you can just go all in on them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Chris, how about your MSU? Because I I do also think, though, Nick, that control points is an MSU mission.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because you can hit. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
you could be a wide.
Well, my MSU is really built more around staying at long range because I'm trying to make use of the British sniper guns, which are better at long range than they are at short range. So I don't have as many ships. I have, the battle cruiser and 3 really stout destroyers. But the destroyers in my fleet are sometimes as stout as some other people's cruisers, as far as what they can take there. But I'm also toying with the idea of another build design, which would be closer to what Garrett's running, which is kind of a hammer anvil scenario where you've got a battleship with those sniper guns that's not going to move very much, paired with a bunch of destroyers that are going to kind of try to catch you between the two.
Yeah, no, I think
Really
the British
classic
battleship,
LMSU.
either one of them with your Maeve King would be a really good combo.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably do big heavy.
I think you've got a decent destroyer that can screen. It doesn't have screening crew, but you've got one that has like +2 armor on it, on the sides of it.
I mean, the Beagle is just such a nice destroyer all the way around, but I don't know that that's the one that you're referring to. I haven't looked that closely. Like I said, I haven't really
I think it's
messed
the
with
Reuben,
screening.
but it's still like doesn't have 16 base armor though.
Yeah.
But it does have +2 on the sides.
Yeah, the thing is that I was looking at the points, and I'm trying to figure out how you're getting 5 ships on some of these builds. But then again, I also wanted to make sure that I had a really solid squad contingent, and if I reduce that, then I can probably do some mixing up on there. But the other issue is I don't know how it is with other factions because I haven't looked really closely at it. But when you're talking about the British ships, they don't all do the same thing. Okay, so the sniper ships that I really like, there aren't a lot of those, to be perfectly honest. So it limits the choices that I can make in fleet construction if I really want to lean into that. Otherwise, I have to try to do something more conventional along the lines of traditional fleet construction, where you're running a battleship, 2 cruisers, and a destroyer maybe. But I don't think that takes advantage of what the British are supposed to do well.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see if MSU, like optimal MSU, becomes light squads, like light group coverage instead of full group coverage.
The most dangerous thing about MSU still is like running into Kaiser.
Yeah.
Specifically, like that shit, or one of these British fleets that has like the whales in it with the 3 front-facing sniper saturation guns. Yeah. They're going to delete destroyers off the board,
and they have. I've done that.
Yeah,
right. They'll just die in one shot. Having the sniper guns is crazy. Range 15 with red dice and saturation guns.
What?
That's the whales you said?
That's the way. Yeah, it's the Connaught class. The British.
Yeah.
That's what I want to build the next fleet around.
I really do love the Connaught class. Like, they're really cool.
See, and I am built around the Maeve King, which is the battle cruiser, and
you can put this and the Maeve King together. I think that's what needs to happen next.
And we don't even know. Like, 2 ship might be a thing, legitimately.
Yeah, well, it's like it's like Armada, where you had 2 heavies, 2 ISDs. Yeah.
I mean, see, to be perfectly honest, if I were looking at big heavy, I would not worry as much about the screening destroyer as I would some screening squads, things to prevent I would be looking to prevent things from shooting up my crew. So something to put a stop to turret fighters. So maybe interceptors or fighters in general.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
I think fighters.
Yeah,
I think
sense.
interceptors are too easy to kill.
Okay.
I generally do too.
I like interceptor paired with a fighter because then the interceptor's not as easy to kill, but the interceptor, it nets you average of like +1 damage over a fighter in the dogfighting aspect of it. So it's the same points. You're trading
I
a
really
little
like
bit of your own
veteran
hull,
fighter.
but
I bring one veteran fighter because that black dice.
And, of course, I also want a spotter in there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So you could probably do spotter, fighter, or you do like spotter, 2 fighters, interceptor maybe.
Possibly. Yeah, I'll have to look at it. I haven't really looked at any alternative builds since I switched out from, I was using battle cruiser, and 2 destroyers, but to be perfectly honest, I'm not really in love with the British cruisers. I think I can get more bang for my buck out of some of the destroyers there.
I think some of the British cruisers have really rough location die on the sides. Like I think most of them are black.
Yeah.
Yeah, black.
That's French and British are like that. And
interesting. Just
the
looking
black sides.
Not a lot of armor too.
No. I mean, you're not losing much in the way of armor going from the cruisers to the to the destroyers there.
So you got the Destrier class has some armor on the sides. Okay. Yeah, just comparing it to like my Palada, which is like it's got black location on the sides as well, but it's got 2 +1 armor slots, and it already has like 12 to 15 values.
Yeah, that 15 helps a lot. A lot of these British ones go up to 13, and that's like their ceiling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's keep your distance.
But that's what I'm trying to do is keep my distance and then use my keel breaker, or what is it? What is the admiral ability?
Keel cracking.
Keel cracking.
Cracking the keel or something like that.
Yeah, because essentially anytime I roll a breaking the keel roll, I'm rolling a red and a black. And that makes it... Yeah.
Keel cracking, that's what it is. It's 30 points. Okay, it's a little better at 30 points. It's still great, though. Red, black.
Yeah, you should go look at the stats, the breakdown I put in the Discord about the BTK rolls.
I did look at that, and I think, that actually would kind of increases my odds there.
Yeah, when I looked at it, and I was like, oh, wait. Like 22 SI and 24 SI are like actually good stats. And you put a D12 in there instead, like suddenly the bell curve just goes like way over here.
Yeah.
And stuff just blows up.
And I like it when things blow up.
And finally, battle line. So fleets that choose the battleship. Now, this archetype is not near as well established in theory as Big Heavy and MSU, because lots of other war games have those archetypes and RTSs have those archetypes in them. I don't want to say that battle line is what in like other games would be called mid-range, because it's not really a spectrum between them, because you have to bring a large ship, because like mid-range or like average, like in the middle of the triangle, okay, that's what like mid-range is. Technically that would be all cruisers. That would be mid-range. So this is like battleship and cruisers. I think specifically that's battle line. Now I've played specifically only this, but I've also played it in only Italians, and that's kind of, I think, poisoned my judgment about what the pros and cons of this are, because Italian cruisers and Italian battleships are so specifically easy to kill that it plays way, way different than any other combo of battleship to cruisers would. or battleship, 2 cruisers, destroyer. Like that kind of mix. I mean, my cruisers are SI-19. I've had them get hit and have a location go out and they just gone. Like your British destroyers are probably more durable than my cruisers. So I have to play everything so immensely cagey, and I'm not really sure how this archetype feels in other factions. But for me, I know that I'm primarily looking at a really strong offensive output. Because I'm fast enough and because I bring enough guns and I'm low enough SI, well, low enough types with my improved steering gear, the minute you give me a slight miscalculation or a slight opening, I all in my fleet into you and I try to kill one of your things. I'll probably lose a cruiser in return, but hopefully I kill just enough more than you that I then fly away. Or I kill your thing off of your misposition. You don't kill anything of mine. I immediately disengage and I win the game off of that one like snipe. So I think that it's in the range of what is like combo in Magic, where you're looking to set up that go turn. So go turn is when you take your fleet and you like put it all into the offense. You risk every piece and you try to get the perfect firing solutions, and you're willing to trade components at that point. Because how I play now, I'm hiding behind terrain, I'm hiding in clouds, I'm staying out of your close range of all your saturation guns because literally you guys were talking about having like 15s. I get like 12s. So I can't get shot at all. The minute I get shot, something blows up. So I cannot be shot, period, at any point unless I want to be shot. And that's just how Italians play, especially with this archetype. So it's wait. Get the initiative with improved steering gear so that I can see the battleships and cruisers move, or their battle cruisers, see where it goes, get the angle, use my speed to overload my entire fleet into one of your ship's arcs, apply all my damage, try to kill you, hopefully in one go, fly away. That's just kind of how it works. Garrett, you're in LMSU, which is close to this archetype, but not quite the same. What do you think?
So my whole thing, I kind of want to talk about mine and Kate's fleet, but because mine is, I've got 2 destroyers that are only there for when the Kaiser takes damage on a zone. I don't want to lose the Kaiser. I move one of the destroyers into that zone, defensive screen, and then the reason I can do that is because the Kaiser has turrets on the sides. So I can keep on firing from whatever zone that happens. But I really like the 3 destroyers, though, because we were talking about information. Since the Kaiser has turrets, saturation turrets, on all sides and rear, I can move it. I take hard burn, so I can turn it how I need to. At that point, the entire board is in range of where it goes, and then I just sit there and wait and see where everyone else moves their stuff around. And then the 3 destroyers all move in to where they need to be. And the key thing is, though, the wolf at that point can move to where it needs to be to defensive screen. And then I have those other 2 destroyers and those extra like 3 guns after the Kaiser fires, usually 4, finish up whatever target we were shooting at. And unlike Italians, where you have to like hide and wait, I can just barrel forward and take advantage of map position and not have to worry about terrain at all, basically. Because once I'm in range of you, especially close range, I can soak 2 to 3 rounds of damage on the battleship. And if they decide to stop shooting the battleship and start shooting the destroyers, they're not going to get either of them. Because at that point, it's too late in Leviathans to kill anything.
Yeah. You've absolutely got to confirm any kill that you get in this game, period. It's so hard in time to kill anything.
So I think it's a much, let's say, what do you call it? Just a much more point and click play experience. But you got to be really careful about if you accidentally leave like the front of the Kaiser open and there's nothing there to defensive screen for it, they are going to break your keel like 3 to 4 times. And even though you have like 35 SI, it starts going down fast. If the enemy can get like 4 shots on you, eventually they're going to get it. But and then Kate's is she does the battle line where she took the Kaiser and then 2 Grief cruisers. And the Grief cruisers and Kaiser all have turrets on their sides, and that's just painful, because then she's able to lay down fire from 3 like ports or starboards and 3 bows, all in an angular, like a front to the left or front to the right.
She's still flying the bracket and crew Grief.
Yeah, and they have bracket and crews, which are okay, but really, it's the fact that there's so much flexibility of where you can shoot with those guns. You're not limited to that side, like pre-dreadnought layout of cannons, right?
With that, we are running out of time here. But
we haven't gotten to like scenarios and terrain. So
yeah, but I really wanted to, for the next few shows, I thought we were going to take a deeper look at individual archetypes. So like, we'll talk about, the battle line next time, and just really talk about some good builds for it, what you want as far as clouds, maps, and all that, and we'll move on from there. Now I do have bad news for everybody, which is Thursday there will not be a stream of the game because unfortunately I have a bad work shift. So, but after that, we'll be back to the weekly Thursday shows. So I hope you guys are ready to see some interesting Leviathans being played. May sneak another game in there, here and there. Can't tell, but mostly we are going to be focusing on Leviathans here.
Are you going to be there to play Thursday?
No, I work 3 to 11.
Okay.
So yeah,
all right.
I will.
Oh, that would not work.
Yeah, no. That does not work.
Just come on your lunch. 2 hours.
So anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining me this evening, and we'll be back in a couple weeks. So good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
And thank you for joining the show tonight. Hope you had a good time. Like I said, we will not be able to run the show on Thursday like we normally do because work commitments are keeping me from that. But we will be back the following Thursday, so stay tuned for that. And know the next show that we're going to do as far as the after action report is concerned, we're going to do a deeper dive into individual archetypes. So rather than talking about archetypes in general, we're going to focus on the more line fleet build there. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening.